There's a familiar ritual that unfolds every season online. A new episode drops. Screens glow late into the night. And by morning, timelines are flooded with declarations. Nothing happened, total filler, why are we wasting time? For fans of this cycle has become almost as predictable as the Cousins Beach sunsets themselves. Yet the louder the complaints get, the clearer a question emerges. If so many viewers resent the show's quiet episodes, do they actually like what the series is trying to be? At its core, The Summer I Turned Pretty is not a plot-first story. It never promised high-stakes twists every hour or cliffhangers engineered to trend on Monday mornings. The show, adapted from the novels by, has always been about interior weather, longing, jealousy, grief, and the strange ache of growing up when time suddenly feels heavier. Calling those moments filler misunderstands the genre entirely. The idea of filler comes from binge-era impatience. In a media landscape shaped by thrillers and fantasy epics, audiences have been trained to expect constant forward motion. Something must happen. A secret must be revealed. A relationship must implode or ignite. But The Summer I Turned Pretty moves differently. Its most important developments often occur in silence, during a long car ride, an awkward family dinner, or a glance held for half a second too long. These are not empty spaces. They are the story. Take the way the show handles Belly's inner life. Isn't changing because of one dramatic event. She's changing because of 1,000 small realizations stacked on top of each other. One episode might revolve around a party that seems inconsequential on paper. But within that space, Belly learns how it feels to be seen, and how painful it is when she is. Labeling that hour filler ignores how adolescence actually works. Growth rarely announces itself. It accumulates. The same is true for the love triangle that fuels endless debate, and are not simply romantic options to be weighed and chosen. They represent different emotional rhythms, different ways of handling grief and desire. Episodes that linger on Conrad's withdrawal or Jeremiah's forced brightness aren't stalling, they're excavating. Without those quieter chapters, their big moments would feel hollow, unearned, or worse, melodramatic. What's interesting is that many of the same fans who cry filler are also the first to dissect micro-expressions on TikTok. They clip a look, slow it down, add a sad song, and assign it meaning. That contradiction says everything. On one hand, there's frustration with the packing. On the other, there's an obsessive attention to detail that only exists because the show takes its time. You can't have one without the other. The problem may not be the episodes themselves, but the expectations brought into them. Watching The Summer I Turned Pretty like a mystery series, waiting for the next revelation, sets viewers up for disappointment. The show is closer to a mood piece, a seasonal diary written in salt air and memory. It's about how summers blur together and how certain days feel endless when you're young. The nothing happens episodes are the ones that feel most like real life, where meaning hides in repetition. Streaming culture also plays a role. Dropping episodes weekly creates space for anticipation, but it also magnifies impatience. When viewers wait 7 days, they expect payoff. If the episode instead offers reflection, it can feel like a letdown, even if it's essential to the emotional arc. Binge the same season in one sitting, and those so-called filler episodes often become connective tissue, smoothing transitions and deepening resonance. There's also a subtle discomfort with stories that center feelings traditionally coded as soft. Teen girls thinking, longing, remembering. These experiences are often dismissed as trivial unless packaged with spectacle. When a show dares to treat them as worthy of screen time, it risks being labeled slow or empty. But slowness isn't the absence of substance. It's a stylistic choice, one that asks viewers to sit with discomfort rather than escape it. Of course, not every criticism is invalid. Some episodes may stretch moments longer than necessary or repeat emotional beats too closely. No series is immune to uneven packing, but there's a difference between thoughtful critique and a reflexive dismissal of anything that doesn't explode the plot. When fans call half a season filler, they're not just criticizing structure, they're rejecting the show's identity. Maybe that's the uncomfortable truth behind the backlash. Loving The Summer I Turned Pretty means accepting that it will sometimes prioritize atmosphere over action, memory over momentum. It means valuing conversations that don't resolve neatly and scenes that exist simply to capture a feeling. If those elements feel like obstacles rather than pleasures, then perhaps the show was never the problem. In the end, the question is whether The Summer I Turned Pretty has filler episodes. The question is whether viewers are willing to meet the show where it lives, in the quiet, in-between moments where life actually unfolds. Because if you're only watching for the loud parts, you might be missing the very thing that makes the series worth loving in the first place.